Hello, hello. At a place called the Galzer, blah, blah. Why did I start recording before I even pulled the idea? Yeah, well, we might as well just get going then. What are we going to talk about today?
Should we chat about Curb a bit?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the new episode yet.
The one on Sunday, yeah. I watched that last night.
So they're airing on Sundays?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I wasn't sure exactly what day of the week they've been ending, but that's been kind of good, because almost always when I've gone to see if there's a new one, there is.
Yeah.
Rather than, waiting for the release day to,
Well, I think it might be Sunday evening in the US, so that's probably, Monday for you. But I'm not sure.
Well, yeah. Regardless, I don't think I've seen the latest one, but I've seen all the ones before that.
Nice, yeah, I'm just getting up the wiki page to kind of remind myself of each episode.
Yeah, I love Curb, but it's no, what's the Kanye pilot called?
Smooth execution there. I was, yeah, what is it? What was it?
I'm a smooth criminal.
A little inappropriate.
What was... A little inappropriate. It's like the track on the new album being called Problematic.
Yes, my first thought was problematic, then I was like, no, that's a different Kanye thing.
Yeah, well, this was before that was in the common parlance,
Yes.
I mean, it was a word, obviously, but not used as frequently as in the context that it is today.
Curb is indeed a cheap knockoff of a little inappropriate.
A little inappropriate, right down to they stole its director, Larry Charles, right out from under Mr. West. Someone on Twitter just sent me some internal Yeezy document, whatever Kanye's current corporate his company is basically. Apparently Milo Yiannopoulos is the CFO or something. He's the I'm sure I'll get going as we keep going.
Oh yeah.
Chief of staff. Yeah, he's chief of staff, which
I'd heard Milo was still involved with Kanye somehow, yeah.
Yeah, it suggests that maybe he would be chief of staff in a Kanye West White House. It's a very presidential title to have. Anyway, yeah, that's concerning.
Yeah, someone who's so toxic that even the right doesn't really want him anymore.
Yeah, that's because he defended pedophilia or something, didn't he?
Yeah, which is something you're only supposed to do covertly, not overtly.
Yeah, while saying the Democrats are doing it.
Exactly.
But I didn't think that boded well for the future of Kanye West as a good artist.
Yeah.
Well, more as a good just his company playing any kind of benevolent role in the world, really. Him as a corporate behemoth.
I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, you're right. But I was kind of worried oh no, he's going to release Vultures 2 before I've got round to doing my own edit of Yair's edit and releasing our Vultures episode, Vultures 1 episode. Didn't need to worry about that. Not a problem. Kanye is far worse at getting things out when they're supposed to than even we are, or I am personally. So, yeah, we can all take solace in that.
There is someone with a little less pep in their step than the real Politik team, it turns out.
Yeah, God knows what he's doing. Just feuding with people.
Probably nothing productive. Yeah, wasn't he beefing with Kai Cenat? I don't know the guy very well, but
who is that?
Some fucking Zoomer TikTok guy streamer. No, not TikTok. I think he's a Twitch streamer, but I don't really know. He's big. He's quite well off apparently, quite successful, but he's 22 or something like that, and you got a 50-year-old Kanye West beefing with him. It's really pathetic.
Yeah, well, definitely. That's the general kind of vibe of what he's doing at the moment, isn't it? But, I mean, because I'm sick of fucking talking about Kanye. I'm sure our listeners are much more sick of it. But speaking of like streamers, have you heard of that guy Destiny?
Oh, that cunt. Yeah.
It's like it's not a name of a person. Destiny. It's not. It's a
it's a handle.
It's a video game that Paul McCartney did a song for the soundtrack for, which is why I've heard of it. It's not a man. Not being transphobic. I'm saying he's literally not a human being.
Oh man, he did an amazing. Are you bringing him up because he was on that interview, the debate with Norm Finkelstein?
A 5-hour debate with Norman Finkelstein. I mean, like, I'd rather literally, like, be thrown to the lions in the Colosseum.
Yeah, it was so funny, though. They had, like, 3 historians, and, like, I didn't agree with all of them. Like, one of them was Benny Moores, and, you know, he's a fucking Zionist. But he's a historian. He's done research. Yeah. He's got the intellectual bona fides. And then you got fucking Destiny here, who's like... God, all Norm wants to do is quote people.
Like, I saw this clip where Norman Finkelstein was saying, like, between us, the 3 of us, we have read thousands of books on Israel and Palestine. You have read 2 articles on Wikipedia.
Yeah. And Norm kept changing his name throughout the whole thing, just going like Mr. Bonicello, Mr. Monticelli, Mr. Bernici, calling him everything under the sun.
Yeah, well that's the thing. This is why, like, personally, I prefer, not being a scholar of the history myself, I prefer to, you know, like, make a kind of moral case, or when it's not too grim, to a kind of satirical case against Israel and Zionism and the occupation and the apartheid system and the current genocide they're perpetuating. Like, I prefer to, make a kind of moral case against that, because, like, the way that you hear these pro-Israel dipshits, like, talking about some treaty that they have fucking read about for the first time 5 minutes ago on Wikipedia, clearly have a Wikipedia level knowledge of, and they're challenging these scholars, like, did Israel or did Israel not agree to this agreement? And it's like, well, I mean, it must be documented to some extent that they did, because it wouldn't be on Wikipedia for some dipshit like you to access in 2 seconds flat. If that wasn't the fact. So why are you asking a scholar this kind of obfuscatory historical shit? Or the other thing, the most obfuscatory thing that Destiny did, and that I think people on the right tend to do in their pseudo-intellectual arguments for Israel's genocide, is he started going on about, like, the fucking Ottoman Empire. He was like, it was him, actually, I think it was him debating Nathan J. Robinson, who's an interesting guy, but he was, like, absolutely in the right of what he was saying on this, and he was just like, well, it's just a fact. You say that the Palestinians use violence to achieve their political aims, that Zionism has been built on, like, the violent dispossession of people from their land. And he's like, are you saying that Islam isn't based on violence? And it's like, well, no, actually, I wouldn't say that Islam
well, I don't know.
is based on violence.
I don't know how much you know about Destiny. He's literally, in context, said, I am Islamophobic, and he wasn't being sarcastic. He's one of those new atheist types, you know?
Yeah, well, he started going on about the fucking Ottoman Empire, and it's just like, oh my god, shut the fuck up.
It doesn't exist anymore.
The Israel-Palestine conflict. Yeah, they're like, oh, it goes back centuries, you know? This is a civilizational clash between 2 people. It's a biblical kind of... It's like... read a fucking couple of books about modern history. Like, because this ancient history, people love it because it, like, reminds them of fantasy bullshit. Fucking Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits and, the great Hobbits, everyone's favourite. And it's just, like, it's easier to distance yourself from, like, emotionally than what has happened since, like, 1948.
Yeah. It's just like, have some fucking...
Sorry, by the way, that was just the bit where, like, my lengthy rambling just, like, shudders to a conclusion. Just like there's no indication I'm gonna stop. It's just like, dude, okay, I finally found, like, a line to end on.
It's jazz, baby, freestyle.
It's like, yeah. it's just like a train narrowly avoiding a crash, just like skidding along the tracks. Sorry, please. I hope I haven't made you forget.
No, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, regarding Destiny, just have some fucking humility. Like I already said, like, I disagree with Benny Morris on this. I think he's completely morally in the wrong, and similar to what you were saying about making a moral argument. I would not accept to debate against Benny Morris or any other scholar on the Zionist side, because I'm not a scholar. I haven't done that extensive reading, and even if I am morally correct, they would probably trounce me up and down just because they got more sources they can reference and rhetorical flourish. Whereas, Destiny just. He's like, I'm their equal.
To the Wikipedia guy.
Yeah, I'd be the Wikipedia guy.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. So, I mean, that is some chutzpah, isn't it? Putting himself up against not just Finkelstein, who, obviously, the thing about Finkelstein is, as well as being a formidable intellectual on the specific topic they were discussing, he is just a mad cunt.
Oh, yeah.
And he will just
he's a debate lord for the
you.
right cause in this case, but he's a total debate lord. He will just, like, hammer one point over and over again until you give up.
Yeah.
And my God, I'm not a big fan of Lex Friedman's show, but holy shit, that was 5 hours of hilarity. I loved how
he
much.
He was chairing it.
Yeah.
That Lex guy, yeah, what was Lex's role in this? Because I think he's such an interesting, he's really, really boring, but he's just interesting for the role that he plays in this, like, weird little niche where he's right wing, but he's, like, not as right wing as the people he has on his show, you know? He's a bit of, like, a science nerd who'll have Kanye on, but he'll challenge him over anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
He had Jeff Bezos on.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I saw the Kanye one.
That's a big tent approach, because Jeff Bezos, I mean, I don't think that even the right admire his capitalist gumption, you know, his striving bootstraps mentality. I think he's generally seen as a bit of a sinister, bald man.
Yeah, he's not populist enough for, like, the Trump crowd.
Yeah, he's not like an Elon figure where he has this weird subculture.
Well, because I think, I mean, I assume he's got just a little more brains than Elon Musk, whereas Elon Musk is dumb enough to run his mouth to everyone, you know?
Yeah, because that's why we've seen his skull. That's why it's fucking pulsating all the time, you know?
He's the kind of billionaire who realizes that normal people probably don't want to see billionaires jerking off too much.
No. But I did check out that Drake video like everyone else.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard he's hung.
Yeah, he's got a really big dick. It's kind of because Drake is just an innately funny character. It's a funny video, but you know, yeah, he is. So back to Lex Friedman is an interesting guy. He interviewed Rick Rubin, and then Boots Riley of the Coup said that Rick Rubin is like a secret closet QAnon guy who, like, influences people in the music industry to, like, move to the right, basically, and he was like, he persuaded Kanye to endorse Trump and hook up with Candace Owens.
That ended
and I
well.
don't know how, like, true that is. But there's a really funny video. There's, like, some unreleased Kanye documentary where he's, like, on the call with Rick Rubin, and Kanye is just ranting, like, insanely, and Rick Rubin is just like, yeah, you're speaking truth, brother. It's just, like, he's, like, on the phone to him, just like, yeah, that sounds so true. And he, like, gently tries to disabuse him of some of the shit he's saying. Kanye is like, nah, man, nah, fuck that, man. And he's like, okay, brother, okay, yeah. But yeah, apparently Rubin, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a secret behind the scenes QAnon guy, because I've long suspected that the brick walling of music, where all music is made really compressed and loud and undynamic in the mastering process, as favoured in Rick Rubin produced albums. I've long suspected that to be a right-wing conspiracy.
That's the real Great Replacement.
Yeah, the Great Replacement of our beautiful sonic dynamics that made our music so beautiful in years gone by. So, yeah, have you got any more thoughts on Lex Friedman? Because, I keep going off on tangents.
Oh, no,
I
you kind of said my thoughts. Yeah, he's basically the quote-unquote centrist guy, isn't he? He's like, I want to talk to everyone on all sides of the issue and get to the real truth by doing so. I think that was even, he gave a little speech in this interview with Norm and Destiny, and he said something to that effect. Yeah, we'll be reaching the real truth on Israel-Palestine here today.
We'll get to the bottom of it. I remember when the whole of Britain was obsessed with Brexit all the time, I did a thing. It was like, I linked to it. I listed it as a proper episode of the podcast when I posted it on SoundCloud and stuff. And I was like, we're doing the great RP Brexit debate. We're going to be hashing out the issues. We're going to be giving voice to all sides, from the radical left to the ethno-nationalist right. Then the link just went to 30 seconds of audio for Mike Gape's milk speech.
That is all you need to know about the topic to come to an intelligent, well-reasoned conclusion. Yeah,
that shows you that maybe Lex Friedman is coming at what he does from a more kind of sincere I won't say no, obviously I'm very sincere about not just about my my politics, but about my mission to make great podcasting art. But perhaps there's something a little bit more arch about what we do, and he's more just purely, there's no irony to Lex.
No, I'm pretty sure what you see is what you get there.
Yeah.
Obviously, all centrists, he's quite right wing, but
big time. I can't remember what it was where I saw it, because I'm pretty sure I've only ever watched him interview Kanye West, but maybe I saw another brief clip of him interviewing someone else. But he started going off on some anti-communist stuff about the USSR and its tyranny, and communism inevitably leads to that, blah 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 blah. But there was a pretty funny one on YouTube which was like, Lex Friedman loses it at Kanye West. And in the video, he was just like, I don't think you should say that about the Jewish people. It was not
very even-tempered. Yeah.
He did not raise his voice. I can't imagine this guy having a rage instant. He's just like, you fucking.
I think the most contentious he got with Kanye was but you do see how that could be seen as sort of not great.
Yeah.
To that effect.
Oh no, but the funny thing was where at the end he was like, well, I hope that we can have had, over these last 16 hours or however long that conversation was, that we've had a real conversation, and that you have people like me who you trust, who you can talk to. And Kanye was just like, fuck you, man, I don't trust you.
Yeah. Kanye was incredibly combative, really, throughout that whole interview.
Yeah, he was so mean to him.
Anytime there was just a tiny bit of pushback, he was like, hey, what are you talking about? You know who you're talking to?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, so the other pop culture-y Israel... that's not really pop culture, is it? It's online debate bullshit. But... something else related to Israel, that was a tenuous link, I guess, is that Jonathan Glazer went on stage at the Academy Awards, and as I understand it, he disavowed his own Jewishness.
Yes.
And he said anti-Semitic things. I'm not sure what. He
better not repeat them, because, we don't want to get cancelled.
Yeah, as I understand it, it was just I disavow my Jewishness, and then it stopped, the quote stopped there.
Actually, I think there was a string of slurs after that,
It was quite unintelligible, the splenetic, bigoted
He really put
rage.
Mel Gibson to shame,
Yeah. So, yeah, Jonathan Glazer, what did he actually say? If we got the quote, because it was a really short speech.
The quote in question, I don't have it up. It was, we disavow our Jewishness being used to further genocide, or something along those lines.
No, something like that. All I'm seeing is just these dickheads reacting to it. I can't find the actual quote, which I suppose is the fucking point of what they're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people. So, you can see the little allusion there. You see how that can be repurposed, don't you? So it says, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness.
And then that's
but
it.
then even if you included the next 3 words, it would be very confusing. We stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust. You're like, so wait, they're anti-Semitic, but they also refute the Holocaust. So yeah, they had to cut it off at that specific point.
No, he's saying that he refutes that the Holocaust ever happened, obviously.
Ah, yes. People have selectively...
That's why he made a Holocaust movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why you never see any of it on screen in the zone of interest, isn't it? Because that's where he's trying to tell you something. Oh my god. That's what they call him, Erasure Glazer. It doesn't really work. Someone called Batya Ungar Sargon, who I assume is related to Sargon of Akkad, says, I simply cannot fathom the moral rot in someone's soul that leads them to win an award for a movie about the Holocaust, and with the platform given to them, to accept that award by saying, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness. I mean, such an advanced level of, like, shameless lying.
It's so meta because, like, we are all collectively, I mean, not you and me, I guess, people who are woke, quote unquote, but our society is that Polish village of Auschwitz, just pretending that nothing is happening when we see the smoke from the chimneys.
Exactly. Rabbi S. Litvin, at Bluegrass Rabbi. So I guess he's like a rabbi who plays banjo, plays a mean banjo.
He's the Matisyahu of country.
Just like, you know, dueling banjos from the Deliverance soundtrack. Like, imagine a klezmer version of that. Jonathan Galzer's, he said, Jonathan Galzer's The Zone of Interest is a Holocaust movie not about Jews. It's hardly... Yeah, it's about what a great guy Rudolf Hess is. You know, I'm sure that's it, yeah. It's hardly surprising he refutes his Jewishness and supports those who dream of a land without Jews. Believe me, John... again, like, he's called... This is like Tim Heidecker trying to disrespect someone. It's like Jonathan Galzer, and then calling him John with an H, when Jonathan abbreviated would be John with... no H.
Yeah.
Believe me, John, more than you are embarrassed to be Jewish, we are embarrassed you are Jewish. It's just like very nasty stuff. Again, it's just like you're excommunicated from our community for your opinion.
Yeah, you gotta laugh, because otherwise you just break down crying at the state of humanity with how willfully stupid we've all become.
Yeah, it is so willful, isn't it? Because you have to deliberately not understand what he said in order to
completely,
you know, come out like that. So the latest thing is that 450 Jewish creatives, executives, and Hollywood professionals have signed an open letter denouncing Jonathan Glazer's The Zone of Interest Oscar speech.
450 people saying, yes, I want my entire ethno-religion to be associated with a genocide.
Yeah, I know. Although it's worth saying that, you know, what did David Ehrlich, he's not a critic I'm a big fan of, but I guess he must be solid on Palestine, because he said something like, and like fucking 900,000 Jewish creatives, executives and Hollywood professionals have not signed this. Yeah. So, and that is like actually quite significant, because like, we're going to get to this. Okay, the list has now been... It says on a Variety article that it's now over 1,000 who've signed it. But you've fucking barely heard of any of them.
No.
Like, Zionism was totally mainstream in Hollywood. Like, basically up until the moment that Israel started escalating it to a fucking full-on genocide.
There has been a bit of a tide change since we hit. I was like around 25,000 or so in this escalation and fatalities. That's when people started being a bit more.
Yeah.
This is bad. This is maybe a little bad. I don't know.
I don't think they've even got, like, Gal Gadot on this fucking list. I don't think they've got Amy Schumer. Like, all these people who at the start of the conflict were, like, so belligerently pro-Israel. And now it's like, they're fucking... Where are they in Israel's time of need? Michael Rappaport's on there, obviously.
Of course. Oh...
He's just,
my
hero. I'm sure he signs, like, 50 petitions every day. Like, he's got to have something to do. But you've got Deborah Messing. Again... She's not that famous. She's like, yeah, she's a reasonably famous actor, but at the moment, her main visibility comes from just signing every dipshit pro-Israel letter going around. So it's, like, not a surprise to see her. Eli Roth is on there. Amy Pascal, who was the head of Sony until our comrades in North Korea hacked them and revealed that she'd been making racist jokes about Obama looking like a monkey.
That's true praxis by our comrades.
Yeah, exactly. They like anti-racism, anti-corporate, doing Obama, the biggest communist of all, a solid
Exactly.
by rooting out one of his enemies. But then she's moved on to some other major Hollywood positions since then, obviously. Oh, and I believe that she canned George Clooney's film about the phone hacking scandal to appease Rupert Murdoch. Look into it. But Clooney's now friends with Keir Starmer, so, like, fuck him. Fuck him anyway. Oh, here we go. The group statement says, "We refute our Jewishness." A smoking gun.
There we go. We found 1,000
Case
anti-Semites.
We refute our Jewishness being hijacked. See how easy that was, guys. For the purpose of drawing a moral equivalence between a Nazi regime that sought to exterminate a race of people and an Israeli nation that seeks to exterminate a race of people. Avert its own extermination. Glazer declined to comment. He's just at home maintaining his beautiful haircut. Because have you seen... I didn't know he had that hair. It looks cool. I've seen some people saying his career's over. It's like, no, by the time he gets his next film off the ground in 11 years' time, everyone will have forgotten about this. It's fine.
I'm amazed that there has been, like, such consistent public interest still. The public attention span is short.
A zone of...
Exactly. The public zone of interest is small.
Yeah, this sounds like the least fucking funny film ever made, by the way, so it's like, it's amazing that these dipshits have inadvertently drawn some comedy out of what sounds like a truly harrowing cinematic experience. I mean, I can't be asked to read all this bullshit propaganda and lies and horse shit.
I find I'm getting less and less tolerance for hearing their shit, really. Like, I used to, like, seek out, like, I would read about Holocaust denial arguments, because I was curious what their stupid arguments were, you know, and wanting to refute them. And I used to look up stuff like that. And now it's just seems like, you know, there's stupid bullshit everywhere, and I'd much rather just escape it.
So much of it's just this deranged, racist, fantastical, deluded bullshit.
There's only so many times you can hear small being Israel needs to defend itself against scary babies before you're like, fuck off.
Yeah, 100%. And so many of the people who've signed this open letter are just the same morons who are on all of these fucking things. Like Brett Gelman, the guy from Stranger Things, he's always out there, like, just being a prick about Israel these days. I think probably Tracy Ann Oberman is on there, which again, it's just like, all these Americans are having to come to Britain and get like a mid-level fucking British TV actor and stage actor to sign their fucking open letters, which is just, you know, it's embarrassing. I'll scroll down the list, just a nice little bit of enemies list monitoring. I'm still on the A's. Nothing sticking out to me here. Yeah, there's Amy Pascal again, but we already talked about her. Angela Mouse, I wonder if she's related to John Mouse, the musician who was at the January 6th riot. I hope that Amy Sherman Palladino is no relation of the great bass player Pino Palladino. I saw someone say Spielberg's sister is on here, but I don't know what she's called.
It would be interesting that they got Spielberg's sister, not Spielberg.
Oh, I'm sure in the past you could have got Spielberg to turn up to an Israel fundraiser or sign a pro-Israel open letter. You know, it's like we were saying a minute ago. Like, it is just interesting how they're scratching the bottom of the barrel here. They got Benjamin Rappaport, who maybe that's Michael Rappaport's even less intelligent younger brother who's misspelled his own name with an O instead of an A.
Benjamin?
Benjamin. You've got Bruce Berger. What a name. I don't know who that is.
That is an American hero.
Bruce Berger. It's agent of CIA. Cody Banks. No, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who any of these. I'm still on D. 1,000 fucking no marks, apparently. Yeah, David Axelbaum, not the musician David Axelrod. So we haven't got any famous musicians, but we've got a few people who sound like semi-famous musicians. Yeah, again, Deborah Messing. The people mentioned in the article seem to be the only fucking ones that are actually notable on the list.
Yeah, I mean, you assume they would probably mention the most notable, right?
I can't see Eli Roth on here. Has he taken his fucking... No, he is on there. He is on there. You're not going to sign this by accident, are you?
Oh, I didn't read it. My bad.
Yeah. The small print. It's just genocide. The rest of it looked fine. I only read the bit about disavowing my own Jewishness. I didn't read the rest. Gary Gilgold. Oh, okay. I can't be asked. I'm only up to G, and there's nobody else on here. By the way, do you think that Hal Huberman is a funny name?
Yeah. Am I anti-Semitic now?
Anti-Semite. Yeah. So, Labour announced they do these funny Labour candidate. Let me look this up. Glastonbury Labour Party. They do these little graphics announcing their new parliamentary candidates who've been selected, and there just happened to be his name's trending. It just happened to be that the Labour Party for Glastonbury and Somerton posted that they had selected a guy called Hal Huberman as their candidate, and let me just send you this picture of this guy. Just imagine that little prick shooting you that look when you say that public services should be nationalised.
Yeah, it's a very smug face, very punchable.
Smug, it's kind of like in America you've got these guys like Beto O'Rourke, who's actually... No, I'm not even gonna try and... I don't know enough to say if he's not as bad as I thought he was. No, he's okay. You've got these guys like Beto O'Rourke and Mayor Pete and stuff. He's just that kind of test tube baby Blairite sort of thing. And of course he's got Labour's BNP style fucking Union Jack iconography behind him. And just for the name Hal Huberman, it's funny. It's like a comic book name.
Let's get Britain's future back. Sounds a lot like make Britain great again kind of thing,
Well, there was that speech, wasn't there, where Starmer was like, we're going to make Britain great again.
Yeah.
We talked about it. I can't remember what the exact context was. Rachel Reeves, who you will recall as Starmer's shadow chancellor, was out there today saying that Labour are going to do a decade of national reinvention or something. Well, anyway, what did she cite as this? Margaret Thatcher, 1979, obviously.
Great, yeah.
It's so funny. I swear every time I record with you, I've got a new thing to tell you about the leaders of the leadership of the Labour Party comparing themselves to Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah. Well, it's a mess. I mean, yeah, you got like Biden saying he wants to be like Reagan and shit like that as well.
Don't know how I missed the obvious joke here of like, oh, Biden's trying to be like Reagan. That explains the fucking drastic cognitive decline.
Makes sense. So John McCain, he was a real patriot.
Yeah.
A real decent
They'll
American.
bend over backwards to praise any Republican who isn't Donald Trump.
Yeah. Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves says Labour will embrace Thatcher's economic policies, saying that Thatcher delivered a decade of national renewal. Reeves says Labour will deliver wide-ranging supply-side reform and reform public services. Sounds good. Of course, the usual fucking pieces of shit are coming out there to say, no, she's not Thatcherite, she's not right-wing on the economy, she's burying Thatcherism, she's disavowing it. It's just like, I don't even know why you people, like, identify with, like, the left of centre. Like, what are you in it for? Because it doesn't seem to be to, like, get any kind of, like, vaguely left-wing policies. It's just, okay, we're gonna win.
It's the power of pure idealism, isn't it? It's like they got this wonderful moderate worldview that is so sensible and so moderate, and we should just do that, guys, and it'll totally happen.
Yeah.
But it never happens. Never.
I was like complaining earlier. It's just like kind of latest obsessive pissed off thought I got in my head. It was just like, I don't even think like centre-left voters should fucking exist. I literally, like, I'm not saying they should all be, like, rounded up and killed or vote, but, like, I just mean, like, if you're a centre-left politician, you have this excuse of, like, no, of course I want to change society in a left-wing way. I just believe that to get elected, you have to make these compromises. Well, if you're not a fucking professional politician, you can just say what you fucking think. You don't have to fucking be compromising all the time. So why not just be a left-wing voter?
And like there's ways to compromise without giving up your worldview. Like politically, you can like Lenin was all about, if you're not in a position of power and a compromise will get you closer to the actual goal, it will bring you material power, then you should do that compromise. Whereas if you are in a position of power and compromising means giving the other team what they want, then don't do that fucking compromise. And if for some reason the center-left always wants to do the latter kind and never the former kind, it's ridiculous.
No,
A
lot of people who aren't politicians are just fucking voters. They could believe every socialist policy under the sun and they could vote accordingly. But they say, no, I can't believe left-wing things because these guys whose job it is to get elected, so they have the plausible excuse of, I can't be that left-wing because I have to be elected, because they're not doing it, so I can't do it either, even though I have no professional stake in this. And it's just like, fuck you, just be right-wing. Be a fucking right-wing. Like, what? Fuck off. What are you in it for? I hate the centre-left. I fucking hate them. Why do they want the left? Why do they want to have it?
Right, yeah.
It's ours. They're the most useful people to the fucking right, because they mean that they have, like, a considerably more than fucking 50% representation in politics at all time, because the left has to be divided between the left and the fucking right.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly right. It's been like, you got it over in the UK with the small boats crossings, and over here, and how immigration has suddenly the supposed left-wing parties have all decided that immigration is a real issue, actually. And the voters are lining up behind that now. It's only the proper left is saying that no, immigration is not a problem in that way. It's
it's like, Labour came out with a whole load of anti-immigration policies the other day, a load of stuff about how they're going to stop the boats and crack down on asylum seekers, and I'm just like, if you're just a fucking ordinary, non-professionally political left-of-centre voter, then you can fucking criticise Starmer on this and still vote for him at the election, because you're not part of Starmerism, you're just a voter. But these people will defend him for doing it, so I have to assume that they agree with anti-immigration policies on a personal level.
There's probably some amount of that. I also think it's just this hyper-individualism that our capitalist society has pushed us to, where we all feel like we are the most important people in the planet, and what if I go around telling everybody not to vote for Biden, then that's going to really materially hurt Biden's chances of winning. And likewise with Keir Starmer, like, you know, it's the same.
Only.
But no, that's not how it works. Unless you got a huge platform, your opinion doesn't fucking matter. You can absolutely criticize Starmer or Biden or whoever. It's absurd. This self-importance.
Yeah, so I mean, did you want to wrap up then? Because I know you didn't want to do too long a one. We've got our politics in, we've got our TV review in, the RP TV guide. I got you to confirm that it is not, in fact, anti-Semitic to think that fucking Hal Huberman is funny.
I mean, that's not a real name. You'll never convince me.
It's like, it reminds me of, and okay, this is not, I'm not helping my case because this character was supposed to be Jewish, but it reminds me of in that Curb season 7 of where Leon plays a Jewish lawyer, I think, called Danny Duberstein. But Larry's trying to con some guy who's got like Crohn's disease into thinking that it's not fatal or not too bad. He gets Leon to pretend to be this guy called Danny Duberstein who had it and then is fine, but then it turns out that Danny Duberstein's actually died of the illness that he's trying to reassure the guy about.
Yeah. I thought you were actually going to mention episode 5 of this season where Larry keeps suggesting baby names to his lawyer.
Yeah. Well, no, okay, if this guy was called, I wouldn't look at that guy and think he looks Jewish. If he was called Hal Huberstein, I might think, okay, maybe he's Jewish, but man, I mean, yeah, okay, something man, or Berman, or Weberman, or whatever. Yeah, that is a Jewish name, but also just having like man at the end of your name is pretty common in lots of different races and tribes and ethnicities, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Hal, I don't associate Hal with Jewish people at all.
Yeah, not particularly. I just think of the character from Malcolm in the Middle, who was, as far as I know, not Jewish.
Yeah, let me look up if the director Hal Hartley is Jewish. He's the only one I can think of. Hal Hartley. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Oh well, it doesn't say on Wikipedia. Can't be that Jewish. Doesn't say. Yeah, so, so that's the news, folks. That's all the news that's fit to print.
Exactly.